6. Quan can put on a show here. Here we go. Here he goes. 360 turn in the air. Two-hand slam.
Yes.
But look at his style. Look at his rhythm. Check out the way he walks. He's cocky. He looks cocky.
Dishing off for Kobe Bryant. Oh, what a dunk.
7:49. Here's Kobe dribble driving underneath. Throws it back
Back over his head and in. Basket count. What a play.
Here comes Bryant ahead of the field.
Kobe Bryant.
Jordan spinning. Oh, baby. I'm telling you. Last year I didn't know. I know.
To Garnett. Back to Kobe.
See, that's the cool. Kobe and Garnett. You know, two of the youngest, the superstars, keying up, eyeing each other.
Dribble Bryant, change of direction by Bryant. Slam dunk. Woo!
I think that's what the fans came to see. And you talk about elevation. Chick, he went up to the rafters.
Kobe has entered the arena. Here, Bryant doing it again.
It's highlight time for Kobe Bryant.
Gives under to Kobe.
When you're a kid dreaming of playing basketball in the backyard, you always do the countdowns, you know, and these are the type of moments that I look for.
Greetings, everybody. Hello, how are you? We're on the greatest show in America right now. I am so proud. I'm so honored to be on this show today. I'm on here with two of my favorite people in the world. I'm on here with my son, Steve. I'm on here with Shawn Teasy. I'm on here with them on Triple Double. Welcome. This is a very special show. I hope y'all enjoyed it. They honored me. The fellas honored me today. Let me be a part of the show. I had to beg them to get on. I paid one of them. The other one don't even know I paid to get on. But I'm here today. I'm honored to be on the show. I am the biggest fan of Triple Double. And guess what? They let me be the host. Why? Because this is the greatest show, not only in America, we're talking about one of the greatest topics that they have ever had. Now, I'm a big fan. And because I'm a big fan, some of the topics that they have, it's kind of a little shaky. But today, they're talking about the greatest topic in the world. Who we talking about? One of the greatest players to ever live. Yes, resilient. He's fearless. He's obsessive. He's relentless. And he shows his passion. Who are we talking about? That's right, the Black Mamba. That's what a Mamba mentality is. My daughter had to ask me that earlier. Who is the Mamba? What is Mamba mentality? Yes, that's what it is. Those 5 points. Relentless, fearless, obsessive, relentless, and passion. Resilient, fearless. He's the Black Mamba. We all know him. That's right. We all know who he is. Kobe Bean Bryant. That's right. My favorite player in the world. He's the greatest of all time. 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, NBA Most Valuable Player in 2008, fellas. 18-time NBA All-Star, 4-time NBA All-Star Game. What MVP? That's right, Michael Jordan himself. Y'all remember, 11-time All-Star first team, 2-time All-NBA second team, 2-time All-NBA third team. That's right, the Black Mamba. Welcome, fellas. What's happening? Y'all got me on the show. Y'all been both waiting on this beat down. Here it is right now. What's happening? I'm the host, so that means, guess what? I control the narrative. Here it is right now. We talking about, that's right, the Black Mamba. How y'all feel? Y'all good today?
Good. I'm good. I'm ready.
Y'all good? Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Both of y'all got Lakers jerseys on. What's happening? I didn't get the memo on that. Y'all let me get on the show, but didn't give me no Lakers jersey.
Oh, man, you know, this
Yeah, a little something. Huh? I see all this Mamba gear out here. We see all these pictures out here. Tell me something. How y'all feel about the Mamba? What's y'all take? Shawn, what's up?
How I feel about the Mamba? I mean, he's just the greatest of all time, especially in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people want to say Jordan, and to me, I mean, to me, Kobe Bryant was my Jordan to say, needless to say. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to Kobe Bryant and what he does on the court, he's just an icon. He's just a beast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
the
things that he did on the court as it pertains to grabbing players by the neck and just ending the game lights out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was just the showstopper. It was always about Kobe Bryant. He was the Lake Show. I mean, him and Shaq, they balled. So Kobe Bryant was my guy.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Steve? You a Kobe fan?
Oh man, my favorite player of all time.
I don't think so.
You know, it's easy.
He just said
It's
that.
easy. No, I ain't never said nobody. But I love Kobe. He taught me a lot through his game, through his life, through his career.
Yeah.
And man, he means so much to me in my heart.
Yeah.
You know, I love him. You know, the one thing I love about him is, like you said, he was passionate about the game.
Yeah.
You know, he loved the game of basketball, and all he wanted to ever do was win championships. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, he worked on his craft every day. He was the hardest working player, some say, of all time.
Yeah.
And I love that about him, man.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you know, that's gonna segue us into the first question. Y'all ready for this, gentlemen?
Let's go.
Y'all got y'all gear on? All right, here we go. The first question is, what is your favorite or greatest Kobe championship or Kobe memory? What is your favorite? I think I'm gonna lead off to you, Steve. What's your favorite, or what is the greatest to you? What is the greatest Kobe championship or memory of all time?
Well, I got two, you know, because it's a two-part question. I feel like the greatest championship he had was, of course, his 5th championship when he came back and beat the Boston Celtics.
You knew he was going to say that.
I know.
He was an MVP in that series. He played great. Game 7, he didn't have the best shooting night, but you know he pulled through. Had a lot of. I think he had about 14 rebounds that game. To be a guard, that's you know sensational. And he just played great. I think that was his greatest championship. It set the bar. And not only that, he came back and beat Boston.
Yeah.
Once they beat him in 2008, he came back and you know got him in 2010. So I love that championship. But 2009 when he beat the Orlando Magic was a little better than 2010, only because that was his first championship without Shaq. I like that. I like that moment. It was a very, very intriguing moment, and it meant a lot. You know, I was sitting there. I'll never forget watching that game in Game 5 when they pulled it off. To beat them 4-1, I was excited. I was happy.
Yeah.
You know, I was cheering them on. It was just a great moment.
It was.
Like that was the greatest moment.
What about you, Sean?
I'm gonna go ahead and go with 2009 when they won that championship. Definitely without Shaq. I feel like with that taking place, I feel that it was big to hit one without Shaq. A lot of the media was also saying, you know, he's not going to be able to do it. He can't accomplish it. He was a team record and so forth. And the fact that he was able to literally bounce back after losing the previous year, he played 82 games.
Right.
He came back also with a gold medal, you know, from the Redeem team. And so he played 82 games the next season, went the number 1 seed, won 65 games. You know what I'm saying? And he did it effortlessly. Like he balled out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was so happy that he was able to do that without Shaq, because a lot of people was counting him out, saying he was just riding on Shaq's coattail, when it just was never the case.
Well, you know, I think a lot of people, because you know, y'all both know that Kobe was my favorite player. Y'all Uncle Cal is probably gonna tell y'all different, that he introduced me to Kobe. It's really not true. I hope he's watching the show right now. It's really not true. I introduced him to Kobe Bean Bryant. And the truth is, you know, Kobe was one of not only the greatest players, but we living in a kind of different time today, right? We live in a different time, so players is moving around. You know, players going from here. I got another question for y'all. So players going from here. We seen LeBron kind of set the tone for players leaving this team to that team. You know, going from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, now to LA. And so when he started this trend, because it became trendy, right? When he started this trend, now everybody's doing it. So the years of Kobe Bryant being, you know, players being committed to one team, we don't see that no more. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? We don't see that no more. So here's my question, Steve, and I think I'm going to come to you first again. My question, I guess, to you is, if Kobe was to have that same mentality, right? Who or what player, what team, what player in that day, right, would you have rather seen him with?
I like, because, and this was actually supposed to happen, him and this other player that I would love to see him with actually were in cahoots to join each other, but some things happened to cause them not to. But I would have loved to see him with Kevin Garnett. At that time, Kevin Garnett was one of the great players. He was one of the great. He was one of the great forwards in the game. I mean, I didn't want to see him with the Iversons of the world. I didn't want to really see him with the Steve Nashes or the Chris Pauls. I wanted to see him with the big man. Kobe fit with big men. He won his championships with Shaq and Pau Gasol. So I would love to see him with Kevin Garnett. One, because Kevin Garnett was a great defender and he could, put points on the board. And they were actually supposed to join forces, but KG ended up going to Boston.
I get it, but Shawn, you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I would have loved for him to play with Chris Paul. I would have loved to see Chris Paul. That's Chris Paul in his prime years.
I thought at least when I came on the show, you was going to give a smart answer. That's not a smart answer.
Chris Paul, he was in his prime years leading the Hornets. They were literally going nowhere fast. Him and Chris Paul, all Kobe Bryant really need, besides a big man, was a distributor. If Kobe Bryant had somebody who can distribute the ball and was able to be a floor general out there playing with him, I would have loved to see.
So Chris Paul is the best choice?
Yes, I feel like him and Chris Paul would have definitely been a great fit.
I know I ain't the host of that.
Right.
But I tend to every week become the host some way, somehow, man. But I got a question. If you don't agree with Chris Paul and Kevin Garnett, who do you think Kobe Bryant should team up?
Exactly.
Y'all want to know? T-Mac. I would have loved to see him with T-Mac. Pound for pound, those were two of the greatest players of our day.
They would have clashed.
It was not a clash.
They would have.
People saying that the Brooklyn Nets gonna clash. You know what I'm saying? People said that KD going to Golden State would have clashed. But you see how that worked? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
it really was working without KD. But that's a whole nother conversation. They really didn't need KD. Calvin Carter, they didn't need it. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, to see two of the greatest minds to play together, you mean to tell me y'all rather see him with KG and Chris Paul?
Yes,
the reason I don't want him with T-Mac is because I guess that's the Kobe coming out of it. Because of the competitive fight.
Exactly.
I don't want to see him go against T-Mac.
The smartest thing you ever said on this show, Steve.
I don't care about these players joining forces like the KDs of the world and LeBron James, just to throw a shot or two in the Steph Curry, calling KD, begging him to play with the Golden State Warriors. See how much Kobe saying.
And not only that, KD, first of all, Golden State went knocking at KD's door. KD was on vacation. They went crying
because they put him on vacation.
Because they lost. They went crying and they came to KD's door.
You do know they beat him the year before.
Absolutely. So what are you coming to my door for? What do you want with me?
They just needed an added piece. They wanted an added piece. They didn't need him. They just beat him.
Listen, at the end of the day, and then you talk about the Brooklyn Nets. We can't necessarily judge the Brooklyn Nets in just a handful of games. I mean, as of right now, we just can't go by that. Can we at least give them a full season in? Can we at least give them 30 games before we get to saying they can't mesh well?
They
said the same thing about KD when he first got there with Golden State. He didn't know where to fit in. But once that season started going along, he found his rhythm and he found his spot.
So I mean, I do know that you bias when it comes to KD. You bias when it comes to certain players. I do know that, Shawn. So I mean, I think the world know that bad now. You bias. I mean, anytime anybody say anything about KD, you get on the defense. So I'm gonna let you know this. I mean, I don't care where they go. Yes, we know they got to learn how to play together and all of that. We get all the analytics and all the stuff that come with it. But you do know that they all three of them play well enough that they should just be able to fit in together. You know what I'm saying? When they first came on, when Harden first came in, without Kyrie, they was beating people. Now here come Kyrie, and now they're losing. I'm saying, got to find where the problem is there, Shawn.
I mean, I feel like the problem, I've always said that the problem to me was Kyrie Irving. I mean, and that's what I've always said. I said, if you can get rid of Kyrie and go get a big man, I look at that as an even better decision to go with. I hear that they're in trades with trying to do a Kevin Love trade or Andre Drummond trade. So, I mean, I would love to see them have a big man instead of two dominant ball handlers on the same floor. As of right now, they just can't get it together. But I mean, at this point, we gotta Get the time.
You know what I found out about you, man?
What did you find out?
This is what I found out, and I just realized it right now.
What did you find out?
I found out, man, that you always blame a player.
Yeah.
What if it's coaching?
Yeah.
You know, this is Steve Nash's first year coaching. It
right.
could possibly be,
That's
coaching.
Yeah.
You know, you did the same thing in
It
football
could.
with Carson Wentz. You just automatically blame
What?
a
Oh,
player.
my God.
You know, you just throw darts at a player. Kyrie Irving is
my
box
God.
office. He's one of the best players in the league.
Yes.
How can you blame him? So what Steve Nash needs to do, and I'm not a coach, you know what I'm saying, but I'm just throwing out an idea. What Steve Nash needs to do is he needs to create a system that fits them three, that benefits their game. Like Phil Jackson, for example, he coached some of the greatest basketball players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He had a system that made them jail. He had Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal.
Mm-hmm.
He made a system that made sure that they jail. So you need to just stop blaming players, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, I can't necessarily. I mean, we can argue Steve Nash. I've never argued Steve Nash because it's his first year, so he's gonna have these bumps in the road. I'm not gonna necessarily blame him for that. I will blame the players because they are the ones who's playing together. So in reality, I mean, Steve Nash, it's literally his first year. You know what I'm saying? So you can't necessarily say it's coaching. It could be, but we gotta see as the season goes on. You can't necessarily say it's coaching as of yet. And that's all I'm saying.
Here's my problem. It ain't even none of that what y'all saying. My problem is, did you notice, Steve, and I know you've been on the show, have you noticed that every time there's a conversation about sports, he always find a way to bring it back to KD?
Every time.
Ain't that what we talking about? We talking about?
No, actually we're talking about Kobe Bryant.
Oh,
That's what
he brought it
It's
up.
crazy you said it because one time I was talking about Floyd Mayweather, and that's boxing.
Yeah.
I don't know outside.
How we got on KD?
Kevin Durant.
And
Floyd Mayweather.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
We can be talking about church, and he will find a way to bring up.
Ain't nobody dance like Kevin.
That brings us to this next segue, man, because Kobe Bryant, y'all, he was. I think all of the players in the NBA said it when we lost him, and God bless him and his family. But everybody had positive things to say. A lot of people said that they learned their game from him. Out of all of the accomplishments, this is just somewhere I want to go. Out of all the accomplishments that he had, right? Some of the greatest achievements that he had. If Kobe was here, this is just a question I want to throw at you. If Kobe was here, what would you say, Shawn? What would you say what would he say would be his greatest achievement on the court?
On the court would be his greatest achievement would be on the court. I would still say him winning that first chip without Shaq. Like to me, it sounded like he was very passionate about that. Not only did he win once, but it was twice. It was a back-to-back. So, I feel like in that regard, like it had to be his biggest accomplishment because people literally was just dogging him. They was talking about him. He's a team record, so forth. He's not going to ever be able to do it. Other players didn't want to come and join him as well. You know what I'm saying? The league wasn't even allowing him to get Chris Paul in that regard as well. So I feel like for him to have made it with the people that he had, with the pieces that he had, which was with that whole team was only one Hall of Famer, which will probably be Paul Gasol. You know what I'm saying? So for him to galvanize his troops in that regard after what everybody was saying about him, and for him to come back and get that chip not only once but twice, I think that's one of his biggest achievements on the basketball court, to be able to prove not only the players but the critics wrong as well. It's sad that I really did want to see a LeBron James versus Kobe matchup. We didn't get a chance to see that, but that's something I wish I would have been able to see, but those are it.
I'm gonna throw something at you too, Steve, because he had a lot of great achievements, right? If I can read some of them, 81 points in one game. Some people say that was his greatest achievement. Some people say he didn't have one, not two, but 4 consecutive 50-point games. 50-point games consecutively. That's unheard of. You know what I'm saying? First Olympic gold medal. Game 7 of 2010 NBA Final versus Boston, which I think y'all mentioned earlier. Here's another one that people don't talk about. When he went down on his Achilles injury, right? He came right back to the court, on the court, and played. Y'all remember when Isaiah Thomas did it in the 80s? You know, came right back, got on the court, kept on playing. That's Mamba mentality. You know what I'm saying? So, Steve, if I was to throw it at you, you know, I can go on a list of things, right, that we can talk about his achievements and the things that he did in the game. And that Achilles injury, you know, coming back, shooting the free throws, still playing in the game. That's an achievement. Right. 81 points in the game against our very own Jalen Rose. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's unheard of. And so many other. His last game that he played, you know, taking 50 shots in a game, scoring, what did he score? What, 65, something, 66, whatever it was? You know, something like that in a game. What would you take if he was here today and you was his voice? What would you say on the court? Because there's so many off the court. We'll talk about it later. Right. But on the court, what would he say his greatest achievement was?
Oh, man, you just mentioned so many. But I you know, if I was the voice of Kobe Bryant, and if I was in his place, in his shadow, I would not say the 81 game. I know a lot of people gonna go with the 81. He was hot, he was on fire. But at the time, he was playing a kind of, you know, mediocre Toronto team. They had Chris Bosh, they had J. Rose. I know y'all like J. Rose because y'all from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna be a little biased, but you know, they had some nice pieces, but it wasn't his greatest achievement to me. Neither was the 12 three-pointers. He had the record before Steph and Clay broke it. He had the record for the most three-pointers in the game. The 12 three-point game was great. You know, that was a whole separate game. You know, you can even go down the line and talk about the 5 different championships. The one against his first dub when he went off against the Indiana Pacers. Then he faced off the 76ers. Then he beat Jay Kidd in the Nets. Then he went off some years later and faced off against the White and the Magic. Even beating Paul Pierce and, you know, that dominant Boston Celtic team. But if I was to pick the greatest achievement on the court, I would pick the time when he did it against the Dallas Mavericks in that 63 to 62.3 quarters when he was beating them as just by himself. I think they were up like 30, almost 30 at the time. But him by himself, he had 63, and the Mavericks had 62. And I know Clay did it after him, and Steph just did it in recent times. And some people came after him, but I love that achievement because to be one player by yourself, see, that's what people don't talk about. You know, Clay by himself wasn't beating the Portland Trail. I think they had 70, but he still had 62. He had 62, and they only had 60 points. So to be one man, you know, to beat a team by yourself, beating a team by yourself, that was probably the greatest achievement that I ever heard of.
Yeah, you know, some people look at his slam dunk contest.
No,
you know,
I think that was actually the worst one of all time. I'm sorry, Kobe. It was. We can't talk, you know, we can't talk about all his positives without talking about a few of his negatives. But one of the things that I think I can say about him, you know, Shawn, you know, a lot of people talk about these players today. We don't have a lot of two-way players anymore. Right. You know, you don't have a lot of two-way players that can play offensively and on the defensive end. You know, and what a lot of people fail. One of his stats, he's tied for second in career all-time defensive selection. You know what I'm saying? All time. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy about Kobe, he had this Mamba mentality he had. He didn't just play on the offensive end, Shawn. He played on the defensive end. You don't see that a lot of times, Kevin Durant. You don't see that a lot of times with a lot of different players. You see what I'm saying? You know, a lot of these players on Brooklyn Nets. You know, you don't see, you know, the James Harden. We don't see players like that anymore. You know, that play on both. That's one of their problems too, Shawn. We don't see that both sides of the ball type of thing. You know, what I liked about him, and even guys in that era, you know, look at Charles Barkley with no ring, but defensively, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't come and see, this is what's wrong with a lot of the young players of today. See, a lot of young players, they like the flash, they like the dunks, they like Steph Curry with all that flash and shoot, you know what I'm saying? But the players back in the day, and I think, you know, the old guys
talk differently about basketball because we seen people come into the hole getting an elbow or getting a fist to their face. You know, you young guys, y'all like the flash. Y'all like you said, you like Kevin Durant to dance. You know what I'm saying? You like all that. You know, but one of the things that I think I admonish about the player in Kobe Bryant, guys like him, you know, we seen two sides of the ball. What do you think about that, Shawn?
Seeing two sides of the ball is definitely very important, something that Steph Curry will never have. Let's go ahead and
now
get
you being
started with that.
disrespectful.
Because now you waking me up. I'm not going to keep having
No,
this.
now you being disrespectful.
Okay, favorite clip, Steph Curry is not going to get it done on
Ooh,
the
now you
We
being
already
disrespectful.
understand that. Okay, so the two-way player of this modern day will probably be Kawhi Leonard. You know, Kawhi Leonard and
the best two-way player?
Yeah, and this time, I say Kawhi Leonard.
No more. He's second.
Second behind
Giannis.
to Giannis? Giannis can barely score. I'd rather you say Joel Embiid before you say Giannis.
Whoa.
Yes.
You know,
And Joel is balling. And Joel is balling.
Joel has been balling.
Okay.
What's disrespectful is it's not that he can't barely score. He can't shoot, but he's been hitting the threes lately. You know what I'm saying? And he gets to the cup easy. He can score.
Okay. He's shooting. You said he's shooting a three better. Is that what you said?
He's making a couple threes.
Okay. What's his percentage?
It's low, but he's making more than he has.
It's low.
I'm saying he's a better defender to me now than Kawhi. Kawhi takes off on the defensive end. And Kawhi, my God, that's my favorite player in the league right now. He's my guy, but I can't lie, man.
But you know what? How you are with KD, he is with Giannis.
I'm telling you.
You know, Giannis ain't my guy for real. It's been said off camera.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say I love him.
Yeah.
You know, but really I like Kawhi, man. Kawhi and Luka, man. You know, all day. But I just feel like Kawhi takes off now. I don't think he plays defense like he has in previous years.
Wow.
Not just me, John.
That's kind of very contradictory coming from you, sir.
What?
Yes.
Now I will say I think the last 7 games this year he has averaged 3 steals. But man, come on, man.
Is that not good?
Look what he did in the playoffs. Hold on.
Oh
let me
my
show you where
gosh, man.
Let me show you where you're contradicting, Shawn Teasy. I think it was just 2 weeks ago. My producer Quan Breezy here, and I know he can contest to this.
What you got?
Shawn, a couple weeks ago, it was just said by you. Okay. It was just said by you that that Kawhi and them he didn't take on the task of checking Jamal Murray in the bubble. You just said that. So which means he's taking off on the defensive
so
end.
but what season are we talking? Last season or this season?
Shawn, it's all
How is it all the same?
Shawn, that was just yesterday.
Oh my God. It's a whole championship later. We in a whole new season. We're talking about what he's doing right now. You just said as of late, he's been averaging almost 3 steals the last few games.
Over 3, actually.
Okay, so what? Come on, man.
Taking off, man.
Oh my God.
If he can do a full season, I'll give you Kawhi.
Oh my.
Now, we on Kobe, Shawn. How you always say to turn the camera? Shawn, I'm getting tired of that. Can you say
I said two-way player today. I said Kawhi Leonard. We're not gonna see that many more in this next generation. As you can see, you know the Zions and all these other dudes. They're not gonna be two-way players coming this next generation.
You putting my cart before the horse, because I got something I'm gonna ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
I got something to ask you about that later on in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, later on in the show.
Okay.
So you putting my cart before the horse. Let me ask you all this, right? Let me ask you this. Here's a very, very important question. Without Shaq, right? Because that was always the elephant in the room with them. The elephant in the room was Shaq and Kobe. Kobe's thing, and even when they did their interview together, they fell out and came back together. They did an interview together, and they were talking about, hey, I got one without you. Shaq was saying how he was mad. But let me ask y'all this. Without Shaquille O'Neal, right, and I think I'm going to come to you, Steve, with this. Without Shaquille O'Neal, is Kobe's legacy still the same? Because we know that pound for pound, that is 2 of the greatest duels that I think the NBA has ever seen, right? You know, and I can name a few others. But pound for pound, if anybody talk about great duels, they're going to talk about Shaq and Kobe, right? At the top of the list. But without Shaquille O'Neal, is Kobe Bryant's legacy still the same?
I believe so. This is why. I feel like Kobe's legacy grew more without him. Because this is when the 81 happened. This is when the 62-point game happened. This is when, he added to his resume with the 2 extra championships. He wins his first Olympic gold medal in 2008. Shaq was no longer his teammate. He won a few more MVPs in the All-Star game with Shaq not being his teammate. So I believe without Shaq, he already had a great work ethic. I think he grows a little earlier in his career without Shaq. I feel like his legacy might even be a little bit more better if he didn't have Shaq.
Wow.
Totally
That's
agree.
just me because I think, we can sit all day and talk about the 3 championships, but without Kobe, Shaq doesn't have his first 3 championships.
Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
So I think, then there's a battle between Kobe and Shaq, who's the greatest out of them because now they're opponents. So, I think his legacy grows without Shaq.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you 100%. Those 2 chips were big, and not only also in what you're saying, adding to it, he had Penny. Shaq had a Penny who was also balling at that time, and Shaq and them, they just could not get it done. But Kobe was able to get it done without Shaq. He was able to have 81 points. He was able to get 2 chips and win, get his gold medal and do all these things. And I feel like even after that time, after he left Shaq, he also had matured also. He wasn't the same old hothead. I don't want to, arguing with players in the locker room. He was more so like, okay, let's try to find something and let's just come together. You know what I'm saying? So at this time, because that's what LeBron was doing at that time. LeBron's getting pieces, getting people together, getting his team together. Kobe was known as a team wrecker, so he was trying to change his name. And so he also matured in that same stint. And so without Shaq, he became, I feel, because he also won an Oscar without Shaq. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Those accomplishments like Kobe Bryant, post Shaq. I mean, his career actually takes off a whole lot more because of what people were saying when he was with Shaq. So I totally agree with you on that, Steve.
That's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. I got to ask y'all this question, and I think this is one of the greatest questions. I think in barbershop talk, I don't care where you go, with the young man, even the old man, and I got a chance to see a lot of different eras of basketball. You know what I'm saying? The 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and even today, I got a chance to see all these different eras. So I can appreciate, and I think Bishop Smith said it on the show before, I can appreciate all the different eras and, the different styles and genres of playing. It was a little rough riding back in the day, and now it's a little more finesse. You know what I'm saying? But I can appreciate it. Now, here's a question, though, because when you talk about basketball, there's so many players that you can name that's great, but one of the greatest arguments is who's the greatest. You got LeBron, you got Jordan, you got all of this. But let me ask y'all this question, because we're talking about Kobe Bean Bryant, right? One of the greatest players of all times that we have ever seen. So my question to y'all is, where does he rank, Shawn? Where does he rank in your top 10 players of all time? Does he fit in the top 10? Is he out of the top 10? Because I believe one year they put him like way down, like 50 something, like 57 or something.
He was 99.
He was way down there of all times, and it was kind of a slap in his face. You know what I'm saying? Which, I believe at that time he was, averaging like 14 points a game or something like that. It
was the downside.
Yeah, it was down on the downside. So I'm saying, 2005, 2006, he's averaging 34, 35. He's averaging 34, 35 in 2005, 2006. So I guess my question to you guys is, Shawn, does he fit in your top 10? And if so, where?
Number one.
Whoa, you got him above Jordan?
Yes.
Woo!
Like I said,
and LeBron.
And some people, yes, most definitely in front of LeBron James. What Kobe Bryant can do he's just a killer. And I think that's what I love most about him. That Mamba mentality is huge. And the fact that he has that and was the one of the top killers in the world. I just feel like when he stepped on the court, he had a different mentality. Like having the poster of, the Boston Celtics in their championship. He's working out with that in his visual. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing all these things he's in practice. And practice, it's just him in the gym by himself with no ball. And he's moving around and he's doing all these things. So that it's like his work ethic and all that that he did on the court and what he did to his opponents, I feel like what Kobe Bryant had to overcome. Even when they were talking about him and so much and all this other stuff, he was hated and he was loved. And so the fact that he was a villain and a hero, in my eyes, I got him as my number one.
Whoa.
Man, you know, it's a lot that can be said. I'm the biggest, and I'm not even lying. I'm really the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. And I think, you know, me as a young kid, you know, dribbling the ball, I went outside to dribble the ball because I just got done watching Kobe. You know, I went outside to shoot and try to, you know, do the countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because I just seen Kobe do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the Phoenix Suns, and Steve Nash was also on my
God.
You know, I just seen Kobe just pull that off on them, and now I want a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So a lot of times, if you ever hear me downplay Kobe, it's because I also seen his downside. He's not my number one, but he is my number two. You know, he's my favorite player.
So who's number one then?
Michael Jordan. Only because a lot of things that Kobe did, you know, was related to Mike. You know, his turnaround was related to Mike. You know, the way he, you know, came down the court with the tongue out sometimes was related to Mike. You know, a lot of things that he did was related to Mike. But the reason I have him so high, and I know a lot of people will argue, because I can argue that Kobe is number 9. You know, because I think he's has the most misses of all time, missed shots of all time. It's a lot of things that Kobe did. You know, even in the championship games, he had the most missed shots. You know, he also, I believe, have the most missed buzzer beaters. But, you know, without failure, you won't have success. So I have him that high because, to me, out of my top 10 list, and most people's top 10 list, Kobe is the most unathletic player. Like, out of the Jordans and the LeBrons. He didn't have the athleticism they had. He was very athletic, you know, very dunk contest winner. You know, he could dunk on anybody. But he didn't have the same tools that Mike had to live off of. Mike can live off of a good jump shot, but he also, you know, live off his athleticism. And why I have Kobe so high again is he's a better shooter than LeBron James. He can shoot the three. LeBron is now pulling the 3-point shot way better, you know, than he has. But I don't think he's number one for that very reason. And then, you know, he fell short, Shine. And this is an argument, you know, in the football topic because, you know, you love to argue championships. He only has 5, John, to Mike's 6. So I have him in front of LeBron because 5 beats 4.
Out of respect for that, now both of y'all know I'm a preacher. That's what I do, right? And I'm not trying to bring the gospel to y'all's show.
So don't be no false prophet.
But I gotta bring the gospel to it. Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me." Right? You know, the student is never greater than the teacher.
Never.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's the truth. And Sean, I respect your opinion about him being number one. And I was never, I want everybody to hear this. I was never a Jordan fan. Never a Jordan fan, right? But out of respect of Michael Jordan, if you remember, if y'all can recall all those little side conversations that Jordan and Kobe had, it was Jordan giving him lessons. Kobe even said it. Jordan even said it. They would be sitting there and he would be asking them, well, how do you do this? And how do you do this? And, you know, and they would be sitting there on the court and Kobe's asking advice to the teacher. You see what I'm saying? And so you can never exceed him. And God knows I respect Kobe's game, but you can never say that the student is greater than that teacher. You know what I'm saying? I got to take a break on this one, y'all. I got to break from the NBA. Okay. I got to break from the NBA. I got to ask y'all a question because here it is. Here it is, and I know y'all don't want to hear this.
You know,
y'all was arguing last week from the top of y'all lungs, talking about football and basketball and all of that other stuff. Here it is. Sean and Steve, 2 of my greatest players in football, is getting ready to collide. Yes, I even seen a collage on Facebook the other day talking about David against Goliath. You see what I'm saying? I just saw it. You got the young man against the old man. You got the turtle and the hare. I done seen all of them. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they always say that the turtle is going to win, right? But let me ask y'all, did Father Time creep up with Tom Brady? Is he done? Because he's getting ready to play one of the greatest players. Now, here's the truth. Tom Brady has always been my favorite player. I don't know what he is to you. He's always been my favorite, right? But now I got a new guy named Pat Mahomes. Okay. I got a new guy. He's my new guy. He my new guy, Sean.
Mine too.
But they getting ready to go against each other. Two of the greatest players we have ever seen. Who wins the Super Bowl? Tom Brady. Watch, here's the question. Who wins the Super Bowl and who gets MVP?
Can I go first?
I'll give it to you,
I
Steve.
love going first in the football topic.
All right.
Because I want to get my stuff out the way before Sean starts speaking foolish stuff.
Okay, all right.
It's one of your worst topics.
All right,
man.
here it is.
But
It's one of his worst topics.
Here we go.
He good on Giannis.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're talking, if the world is comparing this to David and Goliath, I just have to say Pat Mahomes just so happened to be David.
Oh,
because he's the young kid.
God,
you know what I mean? He's the young kid.
Here we
He's
go.
ready. I feel like, and I said it when we first started this show. I said that I know without a doubt Pat Mahomes is going to be in the Super Bowl. I already knew that.
Right.
I knew he was taking the AFC. It was, it was no question to me. I feel like, and I also said when we first started the show that he was going to win no matter who went. And I'm a big Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers fan. I didn't care who made it. I said he was going to win. Just so happened, here comes Tom Brady. I guess you can call him the GOAT. A lot of people call him the GOAT.
Some people call him the thief in the night.
No, man.
I guess you can call him that. But Pat Mahomes, man,
Disrespectful.
Pat Mahomes is great. And I think he's going to be the MVP. I'm going to give out a prediction, John. I'm going to give out a prediction.
So you saying they going to win?
I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think the score is going to be, it's going to be a great Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 30-24. I wanted to say 30-27. I'm giving it 30-24.
So you're saying
That's not a great Super Bowl though. That seems like
it's kind of shaky a little bit.
It's
That's a couple field goals.
Yeah, that's a few field goals in there. That's not really.
I mean, look at the score. Look at their recent scores. They haven't been super high. It hasn't been crazy game. I don't think it's going to be that it's going to be a spectacular game because they're both great players, and they play with great teams, and they both have great coaches. But I think it's going to be 30-24.
Are you serious?
Nah.
And you say Pat is going to win?
No.
That's your prediction.
No.
Man, Pat coming out, he doing, and it's crazy. And I mean, I know you like Pat. But it's crazy that y'all don't think he's going to win. Pat, to me, is the Steph Curry of football. He's coming up the field, flicking it this way. I say it every week, throwing it behind.
One of the greatest you ever seen, huh?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
Thank you. Here it is. Come on.
Thank you. Because he does this every week, man.
Thank you.
First on triple-double. His first on triple-double from me. Steph Curry is by far my favorite ball handler of all time. And he's the greatest shooter. You can't argue. He's spectacular, but come on, man. The stuff y'all say about this guy.
But when you compare him to Pat Mahomes probably one of the greatest quarterbacks we have ever seen.
So you can't say
I'm talking about the way he's changed the style of quarterbacking.
Whoa. What happened to Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers can do pretty much some of the stuff that Patrick Mahomes can do.
It's not the same.
No,
I'm going back to that's what he said.
That's what
So
he's the most skilled.
so he's the most skilled?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
never
what
said
about
Pat Mahomes? I didn't say that yet. I just said he's changed the style of quarterbacking. He's brought the excitement to it. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like Steph Curry did basketball.
He brought the excitement to it. I don't know what he's talking about. He brought the excitement to it. The game, that's all I'm saying, son. He brought excitement. I just said A-Rod was the most skilled. That's all I'm saying, John.
Give me 34-38.
What?
Tampa. Yep.
So you saying Brady gonna win?
Yes, I'm gonna roll with Tom Brady on this one, and I'm gonna roll with him only because
shut it down.
Only because Patrick Mahomes and them, they do not have defense. That's the same defensive team pretty much as what they had last year. If it was Jimmy Garoppolo who was literally killing Patrick Mahomes until Patrick Mahomes, you know what I'm saying, until Jimmy was, fumbling the way he did.
Jimmy G.
Yes, and so if you throw in Tom Brady with a top flight defense, the way that Tampa Bay is playing right now, they're beating.
Blasphemy.
Yes, they're beating.
You're comparing Pat Mahomes to Jimmy G?
No. So what I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes almost lost that Super Bowl. And it was to Jimmy G. But if you throw in Tom Brady, those mistakes that Jimmy G had, Tom Brady's not making. Tom Brady's not making that. So if you throw Tom Brady in as top flight as he is, I don't see Tom Brady, even even with those turnovers, he's going to get it done.
This is the difference, though. I'm going to let you chime in on this thing. I'm going to let you chime in on this, but now you're being disrespectful. I'm going to tell you why. I don't care how down Pat Mahomes is. You can never count him out. They was just
Tom Brady made that up. Before Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady made up that. No. Tom Brady leads the league in comebacks. I might
agree with you on that.
Tom Brady leads the but Tom Brady leads the league in comebacks.
He's playing the
So don't say Peyton.
You've been playing 90 years.
I can't argue.
And that's my favorite player. But when we talk about Pat Mahomes, it's almost like you gotta keep your foot on the gas. I was just talking to Cal about this. You gotta keep your foot on the gas with this guy. Because if you don't, 9 points ain't enough. Absolutely. One touchdown and a field goal ain't enough. He's going to keep coming for you. You know what I'm saying? So Brady, it gotta be an offensive game. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And that's why I got 34-38. It's going to be high. And the reason why I say that is because Kansas City defense, they don't have a top defense. Tom Brady.
Their defense has stepped up.
They
played against Buffalo.
They did good.
And picked them apart.
Okay, so who's Josh Allen? Is Josh Allen somebody to really like?
He's elite, but he ain't enough for Pat Mahomes.
And so add Tom Brady into that. Y'all got to understand, this is what this man lives off of. But he lives off of moments like this. He loves when the weight is on his shoulders. This is when he succeeds the most.
I'm not disagreeing.
You got to understand, Pat Mahomes, he's still wet behind the ears. Is he still getting it done? Absolutely. But Tom Brady does this for a living.
Hold on.
This is what he does.
No, I agree.
What he does. Come on, man. Yes.
Because, son, you've been disappointing me since the barbershop talk, man. Even when we talked off camera a few times, you've been disappointing.
Please let's not go to that group chat. Let's not go to that group chat.
Man, listen, Shawn. First, I got like 2 things I got to respond to. One, a few minutes ago when we were talking basketball, you told me to forget about the bubble with Kawhi Leonard, right? Mm-hmm. Why are you even mentioning Jimmy G and him almost losing? I believe your favorite singer is Brandy, right, John? She made a song called Almost Doesn't Count. Pat Mahomes won that championship. And for you to say that Pat Mahomes is wet behind the ears, and this is his second year back to back. Again, y'all just said football was hard to win a Super Bowl. That just don't come every day. He's back in the Super Bowl for the second straight year. Come on, Shine, man. You've been disappointing me lately.
Tom Brady lives off of moments like this, dude. Like this, you can never. No, y'all talk about Pat Mahomes. You can't count him out. You can't count Tom Brady out.
I agree.
Now, I agree. But can I respond to that?
Okay, go ahead.
It was just last week. Just last week, right? He almost dropped the ball against. If Aaron Rodgers would have ran, now again, almost doesn't count. But I'm saying you're talking about Tom Brady as if, if he got a lead, he's safe. He has to get a big lead on Pat to be safe. But we've seen Pat come back from big leads. If Aaron Rodgers runs that touchdown in instead of passing it, throwing it, and they settle for a field goal, we might be talking Aaron Rodgers versus Pat Mahomes, because they could have went for 2, tie the ball game up, going to overtime, and then boom. It might be a whole different story if he runs the football in. So he almost dropped the ball with the big lead. I think he got a 18 at one point with the big lead against the Packers, Sean. What you talking about?
Let me segue into that, and I wasn't even going to talk about this because that's a very important question. Now, my pick for the Super Bowl, of course, is Tom Brady. That's my guy. I need him to go out with a bang. I'm hoping, but it's going to be the scariest game in the world. Mm-hmm. But let me bring me to something, because did Green Bay lose the game, or did Tom Brady win the game?
I think his last two wins were more so. Now his defense, they've been playing good. The Bucks defense been playing very good. But I think I don't think a lot of players stepped up for the Packers. I think, like his interception, that was a holding call, but it was a few things. They dropped a lot of passes, and I feel it was jitters. And I'm not blaming. I'm not saying it was a Packers loss, but I'm gonna go into the group chat. Because I want some controversy, Sean. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, in these sports, politics are involved. We talk about it off camera all the time. Politics are involved. This is what the league wanted from jump. They wanted Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. We all could have called that. They wanted this. this is what the league wanted.
How do you know when politics is being played?
Well,
how do you know that? Because the league, the NBA league, if I just want to transition there as an example, the league also wanted Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James. Yet that didn't happen. So with that being said, I mean, at the end of the day, you never know when politics are involved and if they are involved at all. My thing is those guys still have to play, and that's the bottom line to it. Okay.
Well, here's the thing though, because some people said it was LaFleur's fault. Coach. Mm-hmm. Some people said it was Aaron Rodgers' fault because LaFleur called a punt when he should have kept the ball in his hand, in Aaron Rodgers' hand. So that's why I asked the question: Did Green Bay actually lose? Did Tom Brady win or did they lose? Because at the end of the day, you got a Green Bay Packers who has one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and y'all snatched the ball out of his hand. And that's when he performs at his best. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers performs at his best when his back is against the wall.
But when you go back to that time of play, Aaron Rodgers had a chance to run it.
He had not only one, but he had many chances.
Many chances. Yeah. And all he kept doing was flinging it, and it kept hitting the dirt, or it was too high, too up. So he obviously was just not on his game.
In the red zone.
In the red zone, which was number one in the red zone, right, Steve? Yeah. He's number one in the red zone. So this is my thing. If he's not performing well in the red zone, at the end of the day, it's about the points getting scored. They was hoping Tom Brady was going to make another interception or whatever. So they just adding points on the board. When it's time for the playoffs, it's not about pride and all that other stuff. You got to add points on the board to win this game. So them 31 points was crucial.
But you know what, man? Again, it's not so much Brady. You can't just praise Brady as if his defense didn't play good.
Oh, absolutely.
They did great.
They did great. Especially in football, it's different than other sports. This isn't a one-man game. So I feel like, Aaron Rodgers' team, because he played a very decent game. Aaron Rodgers played good. He still put up his same MVP numbers. I just feel like it was a couple moments that were missed. And then, of course, every football game has holds and certain calls that the referees miss. I'm not a guy with excuses. I always,
you sure about that?
If my guy failed, I don't mind admitting it. If my guy failed.
So did he play horrible in that red zone? Yes or no?
He did play terrible in the red. That's what
my thing is, I'm not praising Brady saying that he won the game over because he made a whole lot of costly turnovers.
Always.
And I'll give you that. Don't say always. Don't say always, because he's been pretty much close to perfect this whole playoffs, especially what he did to Drew Brees, your guy. So let's talk about that with 0 turnovers to Drew Brees' board.
Hold on. If we really go back to that game, Drew Brees couldn't throw 10 yards.
I told y'all that. I told you that.
Can you stop bragging on the Drew Brees dub?
But I told you that. I told you that. You didn't want to hear me out. Now you hearing it now. That's it. I told you, with him coming back from them injuries, I said he was not going to be the same, and that was that. You still wanted to roll with your guy, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, Pat gonna prove you wrong this week.
Pat's not your guy, so I'm not worried.
All right, let me wrap this up because the producer is giving me the wave. Let me take y'all in one more place or two more places, and we're going to wrap the show up. I got to ask y'all this because, and I got to go back to Kobe, since you got Pat Mahomes and you got Tom Brady, and of course I believe Tom Brady's going to win. It's going to be a struggle though, Shawn. I got to let you know that it's going to be a struggle. But I got to go back to Kobe Bryant, if y'all don't mind, because just like Brady, Tom Brady is Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest to ever play the game. And if Kobe was here, he would probably say his greatest accomplishment was not the 81 points. It was not Shaquille O'Neal leaving and him winning the ring without Shaq. His greatest accomplishments was his family. You know what I'm saying? And as we all know, there's nothing like family. And he said his daughters was his greatest accomplishments. In him losing his daughter, and it's a soft spot for me, but in him losing his daughter, Gianna, and she had her own legacy, her own revolution going on. And from what I heard, she was getting ready to revolutionize the WNBA. She was getting ready to take the WNBA by storm. from what I'm hearing, that there was players in the NBA, former players that was coaching her already. You know, she was being coached by some of the greatest in the NBA. As a matter of fact, Michael Jordan talked at the memorial service talking about how Kobe would call him, you know, and ask for pointers for his daughter. You know what I'm saying? How do he coach his daughter in this time? And from just her tryouts and her playing, you know, at the age of 13 years old, how great she was. And I got to ask this question, you know, how do you see her legacy affecting young girls today? And I think I'm going to bring it to you first, Shawn. How do you see her legacy affecting young girls today?
I see it affecting them in a way of positivity. I feel like it should always bring an impact when a younger person and that same age group, as far as like 13, 12 years old, if you see someone else doing it at that same age, it pushes you to do the same thing. And the fact that she was able to, or at least getting close to, on the verge to revolutionize the game with just her skill set, not only from Jordan, but from Kobe Bryant, her own father, it was just going to take the world by storm. And so for the other little girls who are looking up to her, I feel like that pushes them into a point to where if she can do it, I can too. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in that regard, I feel like she made it to a point where a lot of young girls at that age could be able to follow her suit.
Absolutely. What about you, Steve?
Her legacy stands because after the death, it was crazy that, you know, of course, this was huge. It affected the world, the whole world, but it was a trending topic. And with that being said, I feel like she made young girls grow in an area as a child, because what started to trend was a hashtag called Girl Dad. And it built a bond and a relationship between the daughter and their father. You know, at a moment before that, you didn't see daughters posting their fathers as much. You didn't see fathers posting their daughters as much. And it grew, you know, and it showed people and it showed the world how much being a parent mattered, how much being a father mattered. And I know that's kind of leaning towards Kobe as well, but their relationship spoke for itself. She was sitting at the courtside with her dad everywhere, you know, at every game. She had a relationship with all of the players in the NBA, you know, and she revolutionized the world, not just daughters to me, you know, because she brought us closer, not just to our parents, but she also brought everybody closer together. We were sharing all of the posts, Girl Dad, you know, hashtag. And, you know, it showed how much camaraderie that the world could have together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think out of respect for the Bryant family, Vanessa, and we give homage to them and the family, his daughters that are suffering this loss. It just didn't affect them. It affected the world. I think we all felt like we grew up with Kobe. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, him playing at the age he did, coming into the league at the age of 18, it was like we seen him grow into the man that he had become. And we want to give homage to Mamba and the Mombacity Sports Foundation, which is his charity. And, you know, all respect to his family, and we love him, and we're going to always love him. He'll always have a place in our heart. You know, and this is the last question that I kind of want to segue into, which deals with the kind of the Mamba mentality. You know, we all know that it means to be relentless. You know, Mamba being a snake, one of the most fierce snakes in the world, most vicious venom snakes in the world. And that's kind of what he represented. If he came out, everybody feared him being on the court. He was just a beast and a force of nature. My last question, and I'm going to lead it off to you, Steve. Who in the league possess the Mamba mentality right now?
Ooh, it's kind of tough. You know, of course, a lot of people going to say a style of play. They're going to go Jason Tatum way. At one point, I went his way. But if I was to say a player that possesses the Mamba mentality, I got to go Ja Morant. Because Ja, man, you know, he doesn't care who's on the opposite side. You know, I feel like he carries that. Kobe had a quote, and I got to just say this. Kobe had a quote that says, and it taught me, I think I learned this quote at 12 years old. He said it in an interview. He said, to be unstoppable, you first have to be predictable. Because if you're unpredictable, you don't know what the heck you're going to do. So how can you dictate to the defense what you're going to do? And that stuck with me for years because I felt like, if you're predictable, who's ever your opposer will know how you're coming. But he went a whole nother route and said to be unstoppable, you first have to be predictable. Because what makes me unstoppable is you knowing what I'm going to do.
And you can't stop it.
And you can't stop it. That's what makes me
that's
unstoppable.
very good.
So, and we all know what Ja gonna do. Ja is a rim runner. He wanna go in, he wanna dunk on your head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got the dribble, he got the handle. But what he carries is that Mamba mentality. He has that Mamba mentality to where I don't care who my opponent is and I don't care who I'm facing.
Wow. What about you?
I'm gonna roll with Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
Kyrie Irving is definitely Mamba mentality. He's a shoot first, pass second, even though he's a point guard. I feel like Kyrie definitely is a Mamba mentality. What he can do with the basketball from long range to footwork, and not only that, just under the rim. One of the greatest under rim scorers we will ever see at the point guard position. So when you talk about Mamba mentality, it has to do with the fierceness of no matter who's checking you, no matter who's guarding you, you're just going to go out there and perform. And no matter who's even also on your team, he has Kevin Durant on his team, he has James Harden on his team, and as a result, he still will score. Regardless of who's there, he's still going to play his game the way he wants to play it. He loves to score. He looks up to Kobe, and I see Kobe when I see him. He said one of the things that I did see from a quote from Kyrie Irving was when he hit the shot over Steph Curry, he said he thought about Kobe Bryant, which was a killer shot to end that 72-10 team. So I feel like Kyrie Irving is definitely the definition of Kobe. He also carries the attitude as well.
Shawn, you know what I learned about you? I mean, I'm just learning a lot about you today. I learned this about you, man. Okay. You always go with what the world picked. The world says Kyrie Irving. That was easy. That was a bailout. The world all compares Kyrie to Kobe, just like Jason Tatum. Just because he hit a clutch shot, LeBron hits clutch shots. If that's the case, LeBron is the closest thing to Kobe Bryant. Come on, man.
But can I say this? Both of y'all wrong, though. Both of y'all wrong. The one with the Mamba mentality right now is neither who you say, Kyrie, or who you say?
Jason Tatum.
John Morant. John Morant's good. He's good, and I like him. I think he got a few more years to develop it. The person that has the Mamba mentality is out of Dallas. His name is Luka.
Oh my God.
He has the
next.
Mamba mentality. I promise you. Be careful and watch out for this guy. He has Mamba mentality. A lot of people might disagree with me, but this young fella been playing professionally since he was 15 years old. And he's ready. He came into the league ready. But fellas, that's gonna wrap up the show.
Oh my God, no. Luka has no killer will. I'm gonna
say that. The last word.
No. I've gotta interject that because somebody will get on my head if I don't stick up with my guy. So I'm about to do it right now. So Luka, you gotta be out of your mind. Please. Luka, he takes up more after you can say LeBron James before I ever even think about Kobe Bryant. I will say Ja Morant because Ja Morant does has that vicious scoring mentality as well, but he's just not the shooter as Kobe Bryant was. So, I mean, does he have a lot of development? Absolutely. But when you talk about scoring and Mamba mentality, you got to think Kyrie Irving. You got to.
See, I think that's where you get Mamba mentality, the definition of Mamba mentality wrong. This is your second week straight.
How?
A definition because last week
it doesn't align with yours.
Last week you messed up the definition of recruit. And
no. I still stand by that.
So let me tell you this. If style of play has nothing to do with a mentality, Shawn. I'm not saying their style of play doesn't match Kobe's. I'm talking about the mentality. Now Luka has a mentality because he went up against LeBron and went at LeBron's head. Now his style of play is more LeBronish than Kobe's, but he does have Mamba mentality. So you can't eat nobody's else answer up and say you're wrong because of style of play.
Because it's not the guy you
say
mentality and style of play are two different things. But man, we gotta wrap this show up now.
Before we wrap it up, let me go ahead.
How you gonna cut this guy off?
You know what? Man? I just could not let that go because that was just.
No, because it's not your guy, sir.
Listen, I like Luka. He's a baller. He can do a lot. But when you talk about Mamba mentality, Steve irritated me. So I can't say Luka.
Oh,
I can't agree with Luka, man.
Man, we gotta wrap it up.
Man, let me wrap this up.
We gotta wrap it up.
2020 was a hard year, not only for the world, it was a hard year for the NBA, sports teams across the league. And as we segue out of the show, there's something that we want to show you. But as we're leaving, we want to give all kind of respect to this family, to Kobe Bryant, again, who was my all-time favorite player to watch, other than one of the greatest players of all times in Steph Curry. We honor his legacy. We honor him as an Oscar winner, the player that he was, the father, the friend that he was. We honor you, Kobe Bryant, man, the man that you were, the philanthropist that you were, your foundations that you started, the mentality that you have deposited into the world to go get it as a person, as a player, and anybody that has ever watched him or known his life, followed his career, you picked up this same Mamba mentality, and we tip our hats from Triple Double, and I just want to say thank you guys. I enjoyed being on the set, and thank you, Nicole, for letting me sit in on your in your stead today. And it's been an honor just to talk. We sit around and we talk about it all the time and talk about the greatness of this guy. And I'm just honored to be able to be on the show with you guys. And thank you for being in my home and sharing this moment with me. To be able to reflect on 2020. And a lot of people have lost so many people along the way in 2020, and our prayers go out to you and your family and what you have lost, and we send all of our condolences to you for whom you lost. And I want you to just take a moment just to reflect on the life and the legacy, if we can just take a moment of Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began.
We started.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
Tell you.
When I see you again.
First you both go out your way and the vibe is feeling strong, and what's small turn to a friendship turn to a bond, and that bond will never be broken, the love will never get lost. And when brotherhood come first, then the line will never be crossed. Established it on our own when that line had to be drawn, and that line is what we reach, so remember me when I'm gone. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
So let the light guide your way. Yeah. Hold every memory as you go, and every road you take will always lead you home. Oh, about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you